And but getting back to Georgia there, when I was looking at Georgia in the film, I thought maybe because you wrote her that there was a little of you in Georgia, seen as you did want once to be famous, and you mentioned too that you have a penchant for acting. Now, if you hadn't been famous, Maeve, do you think you'd still have been happy? Like.
Yes, I do, absolutely, because I don't think I was yearning for it or trying for it, like these kids who enter all these competitions. Wasn't that kind of fame. And because when I was young, I was a fat girl, and fat girls, I mean, I'm still a fat person, but I mean, fat girls when I was young didn't ever get to be famous, really, so it was only kind of a wild dream. Fat girls always became thin in movies or in books, and that's what happened to them, and that's how they got on a little bit more in their lives. But there is a little bit of me in Georgia, as there is of me in everybody, because this is the great thing. My father was a lawyer, and he used to say, you should write as much about yourself as possible, and don't ever put a real living person into the book, because otherwise we'll be paying the litigation for the rest of our lives. So lots of people I put aspects of myself into it, and yes, I suppose there is a kind of a bit in Georgia. Maybe I didn't see it before. I'd have to pick up the story and read it again now.
Most people nowadays, Maeve, wouldn't really have the patience for writing, what with the world being the way it is, and we talked about the internet and all the rest. Good writing must, I would imagine, require a great deal of attention. What makes you get up in the morning and write? What does writing do for you? What does it satisfy you?
Well, I think what it satisfies in me is that I am very, very pleased when people say to me things like, I'm very pleased, inordinately pleased, when people say that they thought my characters were real people. And I remember one of my first books I wrote, a woman wrote to me and she said, I was going to London and I thought I would ring up Aisling and Elizabeth, who were two characters out of my first books, Light of Penny Candles. I'd ring them up and we'd all have lunch together. And then I remembered there were only characters in a book. I wrote back to her and I said, that is the best compliment I ever got in my whole life. That is wonderful if you thought they were real people. And, even now since Heart of the Soul is out, people come up to me occasionally. I was having lunch there yesterday and a man came over and he said, that story about the woman, that woman, your character, who had a mother with Alzheimer's and disease and how he didn't want to put her away. That's my story exactly. How did you know all that? And I said, but I never met you before in my life. It's lots of people's stories. And he said, it was so strange to see it, because I can imagine that woman so well, he said. And I said, that's very pleasing. That's a real adrenaline. If you've created something like that and you want to make sure that maybe a few more stories in you, I'd keep telling them forever.
Now, what does Maeve Binchy read? Do you ever get a chance to read in between the books?
I do, but I read so totally different. I read thrillers. I read Harlan Coben, Lee Childs, David Baldacci. I read thrillers. I love Harlan Coben and Lee Childs. Both of those are terrific. Lee Childs is originally English but lives in America now. And some of the Irish thriller writers too. John Connolly is very good, and Julia Parsons. And I read the thrillers. I would never be able to write a murder story or a detective story to save my life, but I do love reading those. I could read as many of those as I could lay my hands on.
And what is Maeve Binchy thinking of now? What's going on in Maeve Binchy's head?
Well, today now is I'm peaceful and happy. I'm so pleased that the film is going to be shown in America. I was hoping it would get an American audience, because I thought that maybe American people would like it. And for Irish people seeing it, the scenery is so beautiful. I mean, some of it was filmed in Rostrevor up in County Down, some of it was filmed in Wicklow. And the scenery is absolutely beautiful where this old hotel is and where they go shopping. It's magnificent and lovely and colourful and atmospheric of home. But that's one good thing. And I think the sentiments are pretty universal. People of every nationality are coming up to a festive season, and if their life isn't perfect, they get filled with disappointment and self-doubt. And so I'm very pleased that this is now getting its it is lousy in America. I wish I was able to go there. If I was able to go there myself, I'd be at the first showing and the second one and the third one. I would really, because I love to go when Circle of Friends is on in America. We sneaked in 3 or 4 times to see it, to watch a real audience looking at it, and that was very exciting. And so we asked, what am I doing now? I don't know whether you can hear, but there's a huge amount of building going on at the back. We're having a building job done.
It has been a real treat speaking to Maeve Binchy here on Radio Irish today, and I hope, Maeve, that we can all sit down now this Christmas with one of your heartwarming and thought-provoking books, and of course we've all got to go see What About You, which again, Maeve, is a knockout of a movie. It really is. I was really taken by this movie, and congratulations to all the cast, crew and producer Noel Pearson, Anthony Byrne, and most especially to your good self, Maeve. A fabulous film altogether and a must-see for everybody. You know, we'll have to go back to the handbag. This, unfortunately, is a must-see.
A must-see for the movie is quite different. I think we have to allow that. Listen, you're very kind to say that. I shall remember that now during the rest of the day, and it'll give me a bit of a glow. I hope everybody, all your listeners, will agree there. And I'll be really thinking of you and how much I'd love to be slipping into that theatre, the Paris Theatre, myself when it opens.
And thank you, Maeve, for joining us here on Radio Irish today. And the very best of wishes to you and all the family.
All the best to you, Sean. Thanks very much indeed.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Maeve Binchy there. Well, that was great, wasn't it? Maeve Binchy here on Radio Irish, and we could have talked and talked and talked, but of course the hammering in the background got the better of the both of us, but we'll do it again someday. Maeve, thank you very much for joining us here on Radio Irish today, and of course congratulations on the new movie and the new books and all the rest. And if you want any more information, it's very simple: www.maevebinchy.com. That's www.maevebinchy.com. You're listening to Radio Irish.
Live from New York City, RadioIrish.com.